TBC, what's the deal? I'm going to leave this link in the description box, and I advise you guys to go check this interview out, especially if you want to hear from Luis Ortiz itself and not just hear from uploaders like myself just talk about Luis Ortiz. He did an interview. It's on IFL TV. Shouts out to them. They do excellent work, man. Excellent work. Now, when I watch the interview, I can hear Ellie's setback. Now, you know, in these settings, there's media everywhere, and a lot of the media guys stand next to each other. But you can hear Ellie's setback pretty much saying, conducting pretty much the whole interview, was asking all the questions. But they asked Luis Ortiz something that really caught my attention, man. It really caught my attention. They asked him, who does he want to fight? And his interpreter was like, oh, we talk about this all the time, Anthony Joshua. And Luis Ortiz was smiling. He really wants to fight Anthony Joshua. Setback asked him, do you see any weaknesses in him? And, you know, Luis Ortiz, he can understand English, just has a hard time conveying, you know what I mean? But he was like, he said, no weakness. He just, you know, probably a little inexperienced, but no weaknesses inside the ring. You know what I mean? But he wants that fight. He said he'll travel anywhere. He didn't say, I need to talk to my team. He didn't say anything. Now, they were in town to go over a deal with HBO. Setback brought up the point that, hey, well, you know, Joshua just signed a deal with Showtime, so that fight's going to be hard to make. And then his interpreter said, well, you know, that's why we're here with HBO, to see what they can offer us. If they don't really, you know, we're trying to see what they can do. You know what I mean? But he wants that fight. And I think Ortiz the type of dude that will try to get that fight made, whether he is on HBO or not. If he had to fight Joshua, as long as they're paying him some decent money, you know, the money he should be paid, he'll fight Josh. And he said he'll travel too. So, to me, this is a lot different than, you know, Charles Martin and Dominic Brazil. Although the Brazil fight hasn't took place, I shouldn't disrespect Brazil to that point where, you know, I'm just making it seem like a foregone conclusion. But I do favor Joshua highly in that fight. This is different from guys like that saying they want to fight Anthony Joshua versus Luis Ortiz, asking him, in my opinion, especially if the fight was to take place, let's just, you know, hypothetically this year. Although I know there's a lot of business to take care of in the IBF, and then Tyson Fury says he wants to fight him. We know David Hayes. It's just so much going on. I love this right now, man. It's just so many mixes and matches of fights. Even if that fight doesn't take place, Ortiz and Joshua, there's so many other fights for Ortiz to fight. You know what I mean? Damn, man, it's good to see Luis Ortiz out, you know, and he's answering questions. I know he's with his interpreter, but just that they're taking questions, fielding questions, and answering them for us heavyweight fans. Then they were asking him about the Povetkin fight, Povetkin and Wilder, and he picked Povetkin without any hesitation. Now, Bermane Stavern did the same thing. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's sour grapes. I don't know, man. There's been a few heavyweights, not just fans or not just other YouTube uploaders, but there's been a lot of heavyweights that are picking Povetkin. Like, so, you know, and I'm not in the, so what is it, you know, is Luis Ortiz a hater? No, it's just something people see in Povetkin. They give him a big edge over Deontay Wilder. I know their resumes aren't even close. That's Povetkin by a long shot, but I do think Wilder does have some physical advantages, the reach and the height, so on and so forth. Ortiz says that he thinks that Wilder's weight gain and trying to come into this fight a little bit heavier may be his downfall. He may look a little slower. That's what he said. But then his interpreter was saying that he thinks opposite. He thinks Wilder's actually going to beat Povetkin within a few rounds. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. There's a lot of heavyweights that I'm seeing are picking Povetkin. A lot of guys are picking Wilder too, but a lot of guys are picking Povetkin. But then they asked him, Setback said, who's the greatest heavyweight of all time? And he said 2 of my 5 favorite fighters of all time. He said George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. And then Setback said, what about Tyson? He said, yeah, Tyson's good too, but Foreman and Ali are his favorite fighters, or the guys who he thinks are the best heavyweights of all time. What else did they cover in that interview, man? They talked about a few things in that interview. Fury, Klitschko. He picked Klitschko in the fight. He just thinks Klitschko just needed to open up more and he'll win that fight. There's another prediction that he gave. Oh, the Brazil Joshua. He laughed at that, Joshua, in that one. But he wants Anthony Joshua. He wants Anthony Joshua. That would be a phenomenal fight. But then, you know, I want Joshua to, his mandatory is going to be a phenomenal fight. You know, they're talking the fight with Parker and Taka winner. But then I heard something else that might not be the mandatory. Then I heard something about maybe the Pulev versus Chisora winner. You know what I mean? So, but then I heard that winner was supposed to fight the Molina Adamek. This is just a lot of stuff going on right now. But, yeah, man, check this interview out. To me, you know, I was excited for the interview as soon as I seen it, man. I'm just like, because you never really get to hear from Luis Ortiz, and he is one of the you know, the hot names right now in heavyweight. And everybody else, they're usually out there in the media, Joshua and these other guys. Oh, then they asked him about Hay and Briggs, and he says he thinks Hay is gonna knock out Briggs. He says just as long as Briggs or Hayes just stays, just be careful in the fight, he'll knock Briggs out. You know, but you guys go check that interview out, man. YTBC, I'm out.